Howdy y'all, my name is ChucklesTC and welcome to another race review in the car, because that's the only time I have to do them. So today we're going to be talking about, I unbuckled by the way, that was a pre-existing sensor in my car. Today we're going to be talking about the Firestone Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. Sorry that you can barely see me. Whoa. Okay, my headlights weren't on. But like I said, it's the only time I have to record them, because I'm going out of town this week. So, oh yeah, poor you, whatever. So what I'm going to be talking about is my opinions on the race and why this is one of the best race starts, or like race kickoff weekends, that I can remember in the past couple years at least. This year's race was, to say the least, in my opinion, great. And I'm going to start doing, you know what the iceberg does with the weekly polls? I'm going to start doing that. And I will have power rankings tomorrow for the NTT INDYCAR series. Some really big shockers up there. And it isn't just how they finished in the top 10. But I'd like to mention a couple drivers. First, on lap 1, there was a 3-car incident taking out rookie Louis Foster, veteran of the series, 2-time champion, the most pole wins ever, Will Power, out. And who was the other one? Nolan Siegel was also out. It was a really interesting accident. Something that we usually see on the first lap at St. Pete. I wasn't able to watch the entire Indy Next race because that's the one thing I liked about Peacock. Peacock, I could get all the Indy car races, everything on my phone. I don't have cable. I don't have FS1. I was able to call up one of my buddies who had it, and he streamed it to a chat. But I mean, I don't like doing that. I like supporting the media. I like supporting the race if I can. You don't have to have LED headlights, bro. I'm sorry about how loud my car is, but I like the racing outcome of it. That's what I'll say. A lot of you guys don't watch Indy Next. Correct me if I'm wrong. If you want to hear me talk about Indy Next, let me know. You're probably just watching this because you know me anyways, so you'll hear my opinions anyways. But so that first lap pileup, something that we always see. I believe there was one in Indy Next as well. But it's something that can't be fixed with how the layout is and how the layout really has to be. And that's fine. The drivers know the risk of going through there too wide, and they accept that risk. And three drivers met the consequences today. And the only other DNF to my knowledge was Marcus Armstrong for Meyershank Racing, who DNF'd after he at least went back to the garage. I'm not sure if he got back on track. After a lot of issues with a tire, and there were fuel issues with not only him, but Herta, and stuff like that. It was the first race of the season, to say the least. But Fox's broadcast improved so much from qualifying yesterday and from practices that it was extraordinary. We still do have the weird scoreboard glitch where randomly a driver will go all the way to the top and drop back down real quick. But that's fine. I'm okay with the scoreboard glitch as long as everything else is good. And everything else was good. And especially how that filed in Dakota. I loved the races that were on today. I watched 3 races back to back to back. Was unable to watch Mazda MX-5 Cup, which sucks, because I know a couple of the drivers in there. So that's sad. Wish I got to watch them, but it's hard to access. But it was a good day of racing. And then now I'll talk about the results that I can remember off the top of my head. I have the podium, at least. So finishing in 3rd position was Joseph Newgarden. He was challenging for the lead late in the race, but then I believe it was on the final lap, the Iceman himself, Scott Dixon, overtook him for P2. Sorry if I'm yelling. I'm just trying to get over the noise of my car. And like I said, Scott Dixon finishing P2, challenging late for the lead. He could have beat Pelot if he just held him on his fuel out lap, but Pelot got the undercut on him. I believe it was the undercut, and was able to pass him on the out lap with warmer tires. That's just what happens, but a good point stay for Dixon. And like I just hinted at, Alex Pelot wins the race, finishing on the same level that he finished last year on. Your pole winner, I believe, finished P4, Scott McLaughlin. He was really dominant the first half of the race, and then the later half it just fell off. It was a really clean race by the IndyCar drivers today, and I'm really proud of them. It wasn't as big of a crud show as the past couple of years had been. They held it together and raced like people who are paid to be in this series. And I respect them so much for that. Okay. In Prima, I'll also talk about Prima. Prima ran, both of their cars were in the top 10 a good chunk of today, I believe. They didn't get the result, but they were up there. And the last driver I really want to talk about, because this is my driver of the day. Rinus VeeKay, driver of the weekend, driver of the month, driver of the year so far, Rinus VeeKay. Oh, he's your favorite driver, you're biased. Yeah, I'm biased, but it's true. Rinus VeeKay took the worst car in the field last year. That was the worst car in the field. A Dale Coyne car was the worst car. And yes, his teammate finished last of the running cars. But Rinus VeeKay qualified in 12th, was P2 in practice 2, qualifies in 12th, then was able to go. He barely ran in the fast 12. I think they were just, they weren't willing to risk that. Then he goes, he finishes P9 in the race, ran as high as P6 or P5, and showed really incredible speed in something that we didn't see much of him from ECR last year. I believe Rossi did finish P10 right behind him. That's still, he's beating his former team. He didn't have help from a teammate, really, because Jacob Abel's still learning the car. And Jacob Abel's the driver that I hope does good this season. I feel bad for him because he is just in a pace spot. I think he needed another year of Indy Next. He just won his first Indy Next race last year. As a reminder to you guys. He did finish like P3 in the championship, but we don't need to take the top 2 or 3 guys every year from the championship and move them up. We need to keep some of the guys down there, because this is how you have rushed guys that are in the series for a couple years and then leave. Jacob Abel's a great personality and a pretty cool guy from all I've heard, and I want him to keep his spot. But with the result that he had, I don't think he's going to be able to. But VeeKay showing the pace and showing what we didn't see a lot of him from last year from ECR. But I think the big issue with ECR was their pit strategy last year, and he wasn't their number one guy. Last year, Ask ROI was not paying enough for him to be their number one guy. It was INDYCAR. It was always Rasmussen, who they were giving the number one car to, or Carpenter, when Carpenter was in the 20 car. Now, another thing, and how the lead was able to switch up near the end, and how there was a challenge. Stingray Rob had the greatest hold off to stay on the lead lap for about 10 laps there. It was just incredible, and it shows how close these cars really are. One of the fastest cars in the field, if not the fastest, could not get around him. And that was just incredible. And that was a great show of skill by Stingray Rob. And I think that this year is going to be a pretty good year for him. But the issue is you're on a Juncos team that had a huge culture shift, lost DNS filters to Prima, I believe, and just they aren't the same team as they were this time last year. They don't have a McLaren partnership. They don't have any backing anymore. So it's going to be really interesting for me to see where that team can go this season. they are getting a huge deal rumored with Connor Daly. I'm sure we'll hear about that this upcoming week or the next before Thermal Club. That's the last thing I really wanted to talk about. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please like and subscribe, and let me know your thoughts on the race down below. I hope you all could see me for most of this video. Yeah. I thank you all for the support. Thank you all. Goodbye. Peace.